Oh my gosh, what are we doing? I don't know. Hey everyone, this is Travis Licata, and I'm back again to cover the latest episode of Survivor. Thank you for stopping by to take a listen. Today I will be giving a draft update between Megan and I's teams that we did earlier in the season. I'll be giving my three top highlights and prediction for next week. I'm going to jump right into a draft update. So for this past episode, Tony won individual immunity, and that is a point in my direction. And Sarah had the most confessional, so that's another point for me. Um, Going into this episode, I was down 12 points to 9, so I earned 2 more points this week. Meghan had a chance to get a point with Kim playing the idol, but the idol wasn't played correctly, so she didn't get a point there. So I've closed the gap, and now Meghan is leading 12 points to 11. And to give you an idea, the remaining players I have left: Jeremy, Michelle, Denise, Tony, and Sarah. And Meghan has Kim, Ben, Sophie, and Nick left in the game. Um, so that is a draft update. Megan's been winning she's been leading the way the whole season. Um, so I've crept to within 1 point. Let's see what happens next week. I'm interested to see if I can overtake the leader. For top highlights, my number one highlight, just not that there's any real order this week, but Jeremy playing his advantage to be safe. I, I'm absolutely happy that he did that. Um, it appeared based off his read. Uh, for some reason, it was only him, Kim, and Tyson at one point talking and saying they don't have anyone. Um, so if that's the case, and he felt like it was him, then why wouldn't he play it? To me, he was the vote because otherwise, why, once he left, why would the other group of five stand up to say, okay, let's decide who goes home? I mean, to me, that says, hey, Jeremy was the plan. He left and they needed to create a new plan. So I feel like his read was correct. Otherwise, he would have been sent home. Um, and and I'm just gonna bump from highlight 1 to 2 because highlight 2 is just the confusion I felt in this week's episode and the dots that were not connected from last week to this week. Last week's vote seemed fairly unified. I believe Adam received the majority, most of the votes. Um, and this week, it's just like, what the heck happened? Uh, Jeremy apparently has no one on his side after last week. Um, I mean, apparently, the apparent possible other group was Jeremy, Tyson, Kim, Denise, and I guess Michelle. But who's to say that everyone in that group was going to vote another way? Um, so it's clear. To me, I feel like someone else was, or at least one or two other people were going to be voting for Jeremy until it switched. Um, so that was just it's very erratic in a way that I didn't find fun because it was just there was major information I felt like we couldn't pinpoint why there was this change in group dynamic. I mean, there wasn't anything that I saw that indicated why people were voting the way they were or why certain groups broke apart. Um, so I feel like, man, I wish there was something that could have like explained what happened in between last week and this week. It felt like something completely fell apart. And like, so there was a bridge connecting two episodes and the bridge collapsed, but we don't understand why the bridge collapsed. We just know that it happened. And that's how I feel after watching this past episode. Um, the third and final highlight I'm going to talk about is the family visit. I really appreciate that Survivor did this thing where they let everyone stay. Uh, Essentially, like a thank you to all the players who have spent so much time of their lives out there on an island for however many times that they played. Um, Now, I think with that gesture, they sacrificed explaining why the bridge collapsed, where the people's alliances seemed to change, why certain players were on the outs. So I think there was some part of the story that was left out to capture the family visit. Um, but I think it's pretty cool that they let all those family members, especially the kids, to have that experience. If the kids weren't there, would I still like the gesture? I don't know. Um, but I think with the kids there, it would have been a bad thing to have those kids to have to say goodbye to their parents. So major, major, major bravo to Survivor for making that choice specifically. Obviously, it's a once in a lifetime thing for those family, but for the kids to go out there and then to not have a situation where, okay, you have a challenge and then the winners have to decide, oh, whose family's staying, who's going home, to making sure that the kids didn't have that kind of trauma is very important. I think it's well done on their part, and I absolutely applaud that decision because if you're going to bring the kids out there, I unless they're teenagers, I mean, with them being so young, I don't think you put them in a position where they're going to have this enormous bad experience from having to be ripped apart because they're going to be seeing other kids stay. So for them to decide, okay, the kids are out here, we're going to decide that everyone stays. I think was smart, and I think it's great for those kids and all the other family members. So highlights: Jeremy playing his advantage to be safe. Yes, big fan. The confusion of the dynamics within the groups and why people were voting. That's highlight two, just because I feel like it's a major hole in the story for this week. So hopefully that will be explained next week. And the third and final highlight is the family visit and making sure those kids and everyone else's family members had a like once in a lifetime experience for players that have been out there for days and days and days for however many times they've played. So awesome. My prediction for next week is the one I hate that I'm making because with the sudden change, with I believe Jeremy was the target. Otherwise, why would that group stand up and say, okay, who are we voting out? They would have already had someone in mind if it wasn't Jeremy in the first place. So I believe Jeremy was the vote. I believe they had the numbers somehow. Uh, so I don't see how Jeremy stays in the game. The numbers have clearly shifted. At least to me, I believe he was the clear target. So if he's the target this week, why wouldn't he be the target in the next episode? That makes me very sad. I've said this over and again. He's possibly my all-time favorite player. He was my number one pick. He's my winner pick. Uh, I think he's, it's just one of those. It's like, how do you not root for him? So I hope I'm wrong, but based on of what they showed us in this past episode, it's hard to find another person that's going to be sent home. So that's my prediction. I really hope I'm wrong in this, and I'm going to stop there. But before I go, I just want to say to everyone, thank you for taking time to listen. If you haven't done so, head over to whinyparent.com. You'll get updates. Follow our blog. You'll get updates to all the articles that we release. We share parenting tips and date night ideas. We have a new bartender vlog series where we do cocktail recipes. We did our own skit for a Some Good News, which is on our YouTube channel, which if you go to whinyparent.com, all of our social media is at the top bar where you can click on any of the icons. And if you go to YouTube, I would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe to that channel. And once you subscribe, you'll also be updated whenever we upload new content. So uh, thank you for taking time to listen. I look forward to covering this coming week's episode of Survivor. And until then, I will see everyone on the flip side. I'll talk to everyone later. Okay.